Welcome to Old Guy Tech,
the OGT.TV recording studio.
Technology for the rest of us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Charney, Old Guy Tech TV, and I'm here today with my good friend Sheriff John DeAgostini, and as you can see, we're in a new set today. This is going to be kind of exciting to see how you guys like this. It's going to be different for us because John and I are kind of used to looking at each other, but now we got to look at the cameras. It's a little different, but we thought we'd bring some class. So Old Guy Tech TV's got some class today to talk to Sheriff DeAgostini about some of the things that are going on in El Dorado County. And look, we want your phone calls. The number's up on the screen, 621-1210. Give a call if you have a question for the sheriff, because he really wants to answer those questions. And John, again, thank you very much for joining Old Guy Tech TV. We really appreciate it. Once a month, and everybody's looking forward to it. I hear about it all the time, so we're doing a great job. And you know what? Let's talk a little bit about some of the new stuff going on in the department, and then we could talk about some election stuff, because election's coming around the corner and all that. And Yep. So, you know, I know you're in election mode, so you got to do that. I understand. So, all right. So you were telling me something really cool. You guys got a new vehicle that's going to save lives.
We do. We just we started last year when we were doing very well in our budget, looking at different things that we had purchased, things that we hadn't purchased, things that we had put on the back burner. And our asset forfeiture balances had grown, and we were doing very well with those as well. So something that the agency needed in a very bad way was a armored personnel rescue vehicle.
Gotcha.
We had a Peacekeeper, which was a military surplus type vehicle. It's the same thing I had when I was in Amador County. We had one of those as well. A great vehicle, served a purpose. However, they're not that safe. When we got the one in Amador, I was tasked, being the range master armor and firearms instructor, I was tasked to see, okay, what will it actually stop? And it really didn't stop much.
Oh, really? No, that's not good.
It was a little scary. So there's a lot of different products out there for this. We did our research, the agency did, and we purchased a Linco Bearcat. We showcased it just recently at the annual Posse Picnic. We will have it at different events around the county when different things come up. But it will save lives. It's very impressive. It will stop everything up to and including a 50 caliber.
Wow.
It has absolutely no vulnerabilities that I can tell. It has a extendable ram on it. Also has a gas insert tool for barricaded subjects, hostage situations.
How cool is that?
It's amazing. And we actually have used it a few times already. The first time we used it was down on a barricaded subject in El Dorado Hills, and just the mere presence of rolling up with this vehicle, the subject surrendered.
Just gave up. He looked at it and he said, "I'm done."
That's exactly what happened.
Smart man.
The deputy said it was actually kind of funny, Sheriff. He looked out the window, had been looking out the window and basically saying, you know, "Up yours, I'm not giving up." And when they pulled up at that and got on the loudspeaker, they saw him peek out the corner of a window. His eyes got wide, and about 5 seconds later, he walked out the front door with his hands up. So,
excellent.
Like I said, this will save lives, not only for our deputies and our personnel that will be in it, but also in the tragic event we have, you know, civilians that need rescue from behind cover, things like that. We can use it for that. So it's a fantastic tool. It's a necessary tool, and it didn't cost the taxpayers a dime. We paid for it all with asset forfeiture money. So basically, the dope dealers bought it for us.
Right. So those of you who don't understand what that is why don't you explain how that process works on the asset forfeiture?
Well, if in the course of an investigation, a narcotics investigation, money or items of value, vehicles, real estate, whatever, if we can prove, and you have to prove it in court, if the item is a proceeds from the unlawful narcotics transactions,
it's like ill-gotten gains,
right, or is used to facilitate those ill-gotten gains, say a airplane that's used to smuggle drugs back and forth across the border, that can be seized and forfeited. So, and I used to know these all. Proceeds, facilitation, and there's one other one I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
But those items are seized. They are either, you can do two things with them. You can either sell them and use the money, or you can put the item into service if you can use it. The law changed years ago as to what you can actually use those funds for. It used to be very, very broad, and unfortunately, as in why other policies and laws happen, it was being abused. Cases were being pursued based on the availability of asset forfeiture rather than on the criminal culpability of the suspects. So law enforcement was being called pirates, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
So many years ago, the law changed, and you can't use the money for personnel costs, for salaries, for benefits, for any of that. You can only use it for training and equipment, things of that nature.
Okay, that's good. And now I know sometimes you keep the cars and you can use them for undercover vehicles. And now, do you have freedom as far as how you go about selling the objects? Do you have to take it to an auction, or you have latitude on that, or just out of curiosity?
Usually, if the case has gone federal, then the U.S. Marshal Service deals with all that, and then we just get a cut of whatever it was.
Oh, okay.
And states, we don't do too much of the state. Usually the only time we'll deal with state asset forfeiture is if it is actual currency, because of all the, it's a whole different ball game, and it actually can cost more to go through the process than it's actually worth. So, and I mean, if you seize a house, you got to understand it. You look at things as, is it worth it? So even a vehicle, if you seize a vehicle used in the commission, as facilitating the sale, if the person owes $20,000 on the vehicle, and the vehicle's worth $25,000, we're not going to seize the vehicle. We'll take it as evidence for the crime, and then
just let
deal
it be.
with it that way. But we won't proceed with
that makes
asset
sense.
forfeiture.
Yeah, because why would you want to have to pay the balance of the car off?
Right.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Good deal.
But it's a good tool. It hits. I mean, if you look at the amount of money you're talking in the illicit drug trade, jail time doesn't mean anything to most of these folks. Jail time doesn't mean a darn thing. They'll go sit, cool their heels for 10 years in prison, and run their little operation from inside. But if you take their stuff, you take their money, that ticks them off.
Yeah. Good. It's unbelievable. So, but one of the sad things for me is that when you confiscate firearms, you can't sell them. Is that right?
Well, you can.
But not to a civilian.
You still can. Not to a civilian. They go to a FFL dealer.
Okay. You can still, so an FFL dealer can?
Still do that. We haven't come to a place yet. When I came in, after I was elected sheriff and I was sworn in, I wanted a list of all the firearms that we have that are in evidence, that will be destroyed. Not the ones that will be returned, but the ones that are due for destruction. And any firearm that is of, a good gun. I'm talking, Colts, Kimbers, Browning shotguns, things that have a value to them. That, to me, firearms are art.
Right.
You look at the inner workings of a firearm. John Moses Browning was a genius.
Yep.
They're art. So when we get the list now, firearms that are, the I hate to use the word, but the Saturday night specials, just the cheap ones, that
junk
that you're not going to get anything for. I would not carry one. I don't shoot those kind of guns, because they're not quality firearms. And I'm not going to mention brand names or anything like that.
Sure.
Those things we do go for destruction. They go for destruction. Other firearms that are of quality, they go into a gun library. And we're building a library at the sheriff's office, so we don't destroy those kind of firearms anymore. Whether we can put them into service, whether we can use them, or we just use them as an exemplary library. And then sometime in the future, we may put them all together in a lot, so to speak, and sell them to a FFL dealer somewhere.
Okay. See, I was under the impression that California had changed that, and I must be wrong, because years ago, when I was in the business, I was able to buy lots of firearms, but there was something that changed, and I don't know if it was up to the discretion of the sheriff.
It was up to the discretion. What happened was some sheriffs were getting a lot of political pressure because some of the firearms that had been through the property room and then were being sold as a lot were then winding up on the streets again and being collected again as crime guns.
Right.
And I can understand that there was a problem there. But when you're talking, I've seen Perazzis, I've seen Browning shotguns, I've seen Seikos, I've seen Weatherbys, I've seen really nice quality firearms go to be melted.
I know.
That drives me bananas, makes me sick, because that's also those guns, you're never going to see them as a crime gun, because the knuckleheads, they're not going to spend what they're worth. They're not going to have that kind of investment in a firearm, number one. Number two, that is a revenue stream. That can be a revenue stream to the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office that I believe is legitimate.
Sure. You know, to show you how bad some of it was, and I want to say it was San Francisco, but it may have been another major city. They did this gun buyback program, and under this program, some poor lady whose husband had passed away had a set of French dueling pistols. We're talking highly engraved, beautiful pieces of art. This was art, folks. They gave her $100 for a pair of guns that probably were worth $25,000 to $30,000. Took total advantage of that. And funny thing, they disappeared.
Oh my!
Can you imagine that?
Well, I've heard stories. I believe it was in Seattle when they had the gun buyback program, and dealers were working the lines, cherry picking the guns before they got to the front of the line and offering more than what the city was. And I think that's great. I think that was fantastic. Well,
I almost hate to talk about firearms because we've got some really sad news in California. The semi-automatic rifle with removable magazine bill that was put up has been passed.
374?
I believe that's the number, John. I don't have it in front of me, but it's the one that makes any firearm that's able to take, any long gun that's able to take a magazine that's capable of holding more than 10 rounds now becomes an assault weapon and will have to be registered.
Has to be registered?
Has to be registered.
And then it cannot be no transfer from there on out. So
at this point,
when you die, it dies with you. And it doesn't have to have, you just need to be capable. As I understand reading the law, and this is where this law and all these firearm laws, I think, are ripe for suit, and they should be. I hope the NRA, GOC, everybody else is standing in the wings just waiting for the governor to sign them, if he does, because even if a firearm...
He doesn't even have to sign them. All he can do is just let them sit there, which it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't do. The only thing he can do is either sign it, let it sit, or veto
it.
Right.
So, but I mean, here you just read it. A firearm capable of accepting more than 10, a magazine of more than 10 rounds.
Right.
Okay. Even if the gun doesn't have, a gun's got a 5-round magazine, but somebody, as I read it, somebody may make a 10-round magazine down the road today. Maybe one's already there, maybe one's not. It's still a violation. These laws, as I said it but when I testified before the Senate Safety Committee, these laws are unenforceable. They're ridiculous. I've already been asked, Sheriff, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are your deputies going to do? Well, I can't stand here and say that I'm going to ignore the law. But what I can tell you is we will not be proactively out searching for violators of this law. If you have done something wrong and you're have violated the law, and in the course of the investigation these issues come up, we'll deal with them as they rise. But for the most part, I mean, everybody, I bet over half of El Dorado County residents will be in violation of these laws.
I unfortunately...
A Ruger 1022.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
I've worn out 2 of them in my life.
It's ridiculous. The problem is, here's what I can see. I can see that, let's say you're speeding in Highway 50 and CHP pulls you over for a speeding infraction, whatever it may be. And knowing some of these guys, some of them are anti-gun. I mean, it's not everybody in law enforcement's a pro-gun person, so we keep that in mind. And he happens to write this ticket. And if he runs the person, and this person actually has already a registered assault weapon, he knows he's a gun owner, and he asks this guy, by the way, do you happen to have any guns? And you're going to want to be an honest citizen. Says, yeah, I do. He says, are they in your vehicle? Yes. Okay. Can I see them? And then he comes up to with one of these guns that's capable of holding more than 10 round magazines. Now this poor individual is going to be up the creek because he's going to enforce all those laws. Mm-hmm. So it's only going to take a simple infraction.
And it's going to, but hopefully, like I said, NRA, GOC, CRPA, they're on this so that the first time that happens, now we have somebody that's had a harm.
Right.
Somebody that's had a loss.
That's right.
Somebody that
and that's what it's going to take.
They can tag the lawsuit,
yes.
the case law onto.
Right.
It's ridiculous. And state sheriffs opposed 374. They opposed. In one of the meetings, they went through the all of the gun legislation. And of course, we only made it through 4 of them.
Right.
And all 4 of them, state sheriffs did oppose. 374 was one of them. And it doesn't seem to mean anything anymore. I don't know.
Well, and the bullet button thing is still going through, but they don't have an answer for it. You just can't use a bullet to remove your magazine now.
I know. They're all ridiculous.
Yeah.
Every one of them is ridiculous.
And because we don't have the votes in either
But we
houses,
have good news in Colorado.
We have great news in Colorado.
What happened in Colorado?
Yeah, there you go. You got 2 state senators that brought the pro or the anti-gun movement forward and voted with Bloomberg and says we're going to get rid of these guns. Both got recalled. Yes. Probably a hallelujah day. I can't even say it. I'm so excited. They did a great job getting that done. And wouldn't that be nice if we could do something like that in California? I can think of a lot of people to recall.
Well, Siskiyou County Board of Supervisors had a resolution to secede from the state.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get a bunch more with
I like
the plan.
that.
And
let's join them.
Let's join them.
Yeah, I think we need an east-west split. I really do.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
East, west, north, south.
Yeah. I think that would be good. So, but unfortunately, it really is a sad day. By the way, speaking of the day, I want to make sure that we recognize the fact that today is September 11th, and it's been a number of years now since that unfortunate attack on our country took place by what I'm willing to call Muslim radicals, and killed thousands of people and injured many people for years and years and years. So it's a sad day. It's a blotch on our calendar that we have to make sure we don't forget. So we fly that 9/11 flag all the time. And we got a caller. Hi, this is Rob and John DeAugustini. Who do we have?
You got Bob on the phone.
Hey, Bob. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm angry at what's going on in Sacramento. It's too bad we don't have a 9.5 earthquake and sink this building. Sorry. But
that would delay the vote, that's all.
For John.
Go ahead, Bob.
That has to do with the DOJ approving and stating the microstamping is now the law, and that guns won't be brought back into this state unless they have that facility on them or can do that. And what gets me is if all guns are in there and somebody is at a range and proceeds to forget to pick up one of their rounds, and somebody else picks it up, commits a crime, and drops that round, and that round happens to be maybe one of the sheriff deputies. And that, so now what do? We find out that the number of that gun belongs to a deputy sheriff or somebody in law enforcement and was used in commission of a crime.
Yeah, it's we were calling it seeding. What's going to happen is And I don't understand, no manufacturer has stepped forward and said, yes, we're going to put this technology into new guns. So starting next year, as far as I know, there'll be no new guns coming into California because it won't have the microstamping on it. The other thing, these idiots who signed this bill and passed this situation, and unfortunately it was under Schwarzenegger of all people, nobody thought about the fact that, you're at a shooting range and you're shooting and your brass goes everywhere, and some guy that isn't real honest picks up all that brass. He can see the crime scene, and all of a sudden now they're pointing the finger at you, and you haven't been there. So there's all kinds of things wrong with this law. It was my understanding initially when this thing was passed is that it had to be 100% reliable. Now, I haven't read the final bill that Schwarzenegger signed, but now I understand that that was taken out of it. So we've got junk science trying to impose something on the California gun owners, and no new guns in California just because of this? John, are you aware of what's going on here?
As you said, as I understand the law and the way it's written, and Kamala Harris's the opinion that she put out is after January, any new firearm, handgun that comes into the state of California has to have that technology. And as far as I know, like Rob said, no gun manufacturers are stepping up to start mass producing these just for California, and right. I don't ever foresee that. This is a defense attorney's dream. You're not going to. Their argument is we're going to be able to trace these crime scenes back to this gun, back to this person.
Right.
Again, it's a defense attorney's dream.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned picking up the brass casings at the range. If you go walk around in the forest, or you go walk around where people shoot, or if you go down to the city and you're out in kind of the canals or the other places, you can find casings.
Oh yeah.
So they're going to be seeding with anything. So it's going to be the burden of proof upon the prosecutor to prove that casing came from that gun that was in that person's hand. And you're going to run into so many walls that it's not going to be worth the time and an effort to really chase down those leads. Is it going to happen? Sure. The L.A. and the more liberal counties, they're going to be trying to make cases on it and show that it's this technology is working, but I see it hindering more than helping. It's just it's another unenforceable law.
Hey Bob, is that you ringing?
Yes, it is, because I'm only hearing one of every other fourth word from John.
Well, it's because your phone's ringing.
No, I just called you to tell you that. I'm trying to get my cell phone from my other one so I can hear
Call us back, Bob. Anyway, I want to drop that real quick. And John, I wanted to tell you something else. Folks, we're on a new set here, so John doesn't really know it. If you raise your hands up, see what happens to my picture?
Oh, my goodness. I'm Italian. I can't talk with my hands, now I can't talk.
He's Italian, that's right. Somebody else called but hung up. He can't help himself.
He just
sit back a little bit. There you go.
I have to sit on him. There we go.
You can do it. Just keep him low. But to get back to Bob's point, it's one of these laws that where are we going in California? California, does it feel to you like it feels to me that California wants to become the major anti-gun state in the union?
Oh, I believe we've heard legislators say that.
Yeah. That
we want to be ahead of all this, and they want to do that.
Can you? And it's just, I don't know, folks. We John and I both are just so disgusted with what we're seeing in under these so-called they've saved the world by passing gun laws that make no sense and are unenforceable.
Based on emotion, not facts.
Based on emotion, not facts. And what I've always found is these politicians that are in districts that are very liberal, they want to show, because they want to get reelected, they want to show that they're doing everything they can to stop crime. And we have so many existing laws in the books already that are unenforceable. Let's just throw more on them and hurt the honest gun people more and more and more. The other bill that's coming, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, is the no lead ammunition in hunting in California, that particular bill. And it's funny how politics make strange bedfellows, because operating engineers that tend to be, unfortunately, their PACs tend to be liberal and anti-gun, are actually going to the governor and saying, you can't pass this bill. It's going to affect all our mining and all our operators that are working to get the lead and get the copper and get the components out of the gun. You can't sign this. It's going to hurt us. I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know about you, but it shows you that economics plays into this a little bit, as we're seeing in New York and Connecticut and even in Colorado. A number of companies have left those states with many employees making millions of dollars of tax revenue and have left simply because it's a gun unfriendly state. So, every state needs its revenue. So here you've got these wonderful legislators. What are they going to make it up on? They're going to make it up on you, because what are you going to get? More and more fees, which we all know are taxes. So you're going to see every state, you're going to see them tack on more and more fees. One of the bills that we're seeing in the federal level, and this is unbelievable, is talking about a 50% tax on the purchase of ammunition. 50%, folks. 50%. This is going to stop all the crime. We're going to tax ammunition at 50%.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's on the federal level. The state level, we've got the ammunition situation also, where there'd be no more internet sales. All sales of ammunition in California must be conducted in person. You must buy a license to purchase ammunition. My understanding, that license is going to cost about $50 a year to maintain. You're going to have to do it by signing a register and leaving a thumbprint. And also, it's adding on some form of tax also. And I've heard it's as high as 25%.
So the other side of all this is, not only is it not going to have any impact whatsoever on firearm violence,
no,
period,
none.
But you're messing with free enterprise.
Right.
You're messing with capitalism. You're messing with free enterprise.
Exactly.
What this country was founded upon.
That's right.
Period.
That's right. You're making manufacturers that want to be in a particular state for whatever reason hire people, give them jobs, give them medical, produce products, and you want to just throw that all away.
Yep.
Because of what? Because you want to be feely good, touchy good, you politicians out there? You're knuckleheads. That's all I could say about that. Bunch of knuckleheads. If you're going to do a law and you're going to pass a law, get it right, would you? And we already know there's so many laws now, it's not going to change anything. The situations a lot of times that happen, and even the theater shooting place took happen, that individual was mentally ill. However, he was never through the program. When he bought his guns, he was totally legal. So it doesn't matter what bills you throw on it, what laws you throw on it, there's still going to be idiots out there that are going to do harm. And you know what, folks? Most of the time, majority of the time, the firearms that are used in the commission of a crime are stolen. Okay? Plain and simple.
Yep.
They don't go to a gun store and wait there 10 or 15 days, whatever it may be, in whatever state you live in, and do the background check. Doesn't happen. I mean, you've been in law enforcement your whole life. How many bad guys have you taken guns from that are actually been registered to?
To somebody else.
Yeah, to somebody else. That's right. So, and that also adds on to they're making this odorous situation with, you need to report. If a gun is found missing, you need to report it within 24 hours now. Okay? If you don't, you are now a criminal, because you didn't report your gun was missing. I don't know about you, but I don't look in my safe every day and take an inventory count. Let's be reasonable with things. It's gotten crazy.
We've gone beyond reasonable years ago. We need a reset, Rob.
Yeah, we need a reset. I don't know how we're going to do it, but
the polls.
Yeah.
People talk.
Got to get
talk to your neighbors. Call right now. Of all the other times in this year, right now. Because the legislature's shutting down, the governor's got all these bills on his desk. Get on your phone, blow them up, blow that dome up. Yeah. Emails, snail mails, all of it, blow them up.
Send them all to the governor, because they're going to all end up on his desk.
Yep.
And let's see if it does any good. I'm not sure that it will, but do it.
Yep.
You know, you can't just sit back and let others do it for you. You have to. And one of the things I'm learning, particularly with this governor here, he actually likes snail mail. He likes letters actually coming in the mail. So just write something. It doesn't matter what it is. Go to NRA site, go to ILA site, go to calguns.org, go to CRPA. There's templates there for you to copy of what you need to say and what you need to say to the governor. Write it down, put it in the mail. You know, they mark that down. But he needs to know that if he wants to continue being governor in this next election, we're going to fight him tooth and nail. So unfortunately, there's a lot of sad gun bills that's going on. So let's talk about the campaign. You know, one of the most difficult things, and I've said that a long time ago, I've had people ask me, why don't you go out and run? Because I can't do it. I don't have it. I can't be everybody's friend, and I can't shake every hand, and I can't be every location. And I think anybody that runs for office gets a lot of credit for just going through that. So, John, you got it winding up. You got your campaign hopefully going full stream, right? And
we're geared up. I don't want to say we're in full campaign mode because right now I don't have an opponent.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Hopefully it will stay
That's
that
right.
way. If I do, we'll be all right. I think with the accomplishments that we've had so far in my term, in my administration, things that we've been able to do, the money that we've been able to save, I don't think anybody can touch it. But if somebody does, it's going to cause us to, have to run a full campaign and raise a lot more money than we would have had to. And
right.
Hopefully, March will come, the final filing date, and I will be running unopposed, and we can focus on work.
Get back to your job.
Focus on work, and I'm doing that now. I still go to a lot of events. I've always have. I've never quit after the campaign because that keeps me in touch with what's going on out there, and I hear things. And if I'm not out there, I won't hear those things.
Right.
But we do have my finance committee is up and running. We have our new bumper stickers are out there. So the second generation, everybody said, geez, your bumper stickers were everywhere during the last election.
Right.
Well, a lot of them are still there, but now you start to see the second generation of bumper stickers.
And that says re-elect, right?
It's re-elect. Yeah, and the stars on the left-hand side instead of embedded in the O in DeAugustini. So,
that's good.
We're starting to do that. Our website is up and running for the new campaign, www.johndeaugustini.com. And people can go on there and contact me, support me, donate there online. We have videos that are embedded in the website from when I testified before the Senate Safety Committee, when I kind of had a reset with the Board of Supervisors for the Sheriff's Office so that I could do my job that the people elected me to do.
Tell your web people that all our videos are available for you.
I'll do that, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll do that. So we're running. We're running. Like I said, I hope I don't have an opponent. If somebody does step up, I think all it's really going to do is cost a lot of people a lot of money, and I'd rather see that not happen. We're getting a lot done. My promises I think I've kept all my promises. I'll continue to work hard. We've got a long way we need to go, but
well, you've got a lot on the future writing. You've got a vision for the Sheriff's Department that's going to take a number of years to do, and I think we need to keep that cohesiveness going forward, because we're talking about a new facility for the Sheriff's Department. That's going to take time, and every time if you get a new sheriff every 4 years, everything gets reset and sent back. We need to get this moving forward, and I think John, I try to stay neutral on this, and anybody that if you get an opponent that's going to run against you, well, more than welcome to come into this show. But I told Sheriff DeAugustini that I was going to come out in public and publicly support him, and I got to tell you, Everybody that I run into are very, very satisfied. Now, that doesn't mean you make everybody happy.
No.
But one of the nice things about you, John, is that you have an open door policy. Anybody can call up, make an appointment. You know, you're a busy man, but you'll spend 10, 15 minutes with just about everybody. It's
Yes,
just
sir.
amazing. I've heard
Yes,
that
sir.
from everybody.
And we do have a ways to go. I mean, even just the culture change in the agency. Culture change takes a long time. And we're doing really, really good. We got a lot of fantastic people in your sheriff's office, in the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office,
Right.
that work really hard, have a really good outlook, have held our vision statement, the vision statement that I brought to the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office, holding it in high regard. That vision statement is a modern approach to traditional law enforcement values, total enforcement on crime and criminals, total care for victims, witnesses in the community, and total professionalism through training and by example. And it's working. We're getting there. But culture change in an agency the size of the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office, 370 full-time sworn or full-time employees.
Right.
You know, that's culture change, and it just takes time. And then you mentioned the facility. You know, this was one thing, we talked about it on the show before.
Right.
It was identified by the county through their own independent study that don't spend another dime on that building. You're throwing good money after bad. So which was very good for me.
Right.
Because that was one of the things that I identified that we really, really need. I have employees working in old jail cells that I can't house prisoners in, but I
Right.
can, due to the
Your
construction,
employee.
the air quality, the conditions. But I got employees working in there,
Yeah.
God bless them. They're doing a fantastic job, and they don't gripe. I'm paying over $300,000 a year on off-site facility leases because we're spread all over the county. And the lack of interaction because of that disconnect in the basic service that we provide, law enforcement. You don't have the detectives talking on a regular basis to patrol. You don't have support services talking to the administration on a regular basis because they're not down the hill. They're clear on Upper Broadway. You have all those inefficiencies that need to be fixed. We have areas that we can save money that we're looking at in a new facility. So the bottom line is we need one. We're doing all the figurative foundation, so to speak, on how to get there.
Right. Your
It's-
due
it is-
diligence.
It's a huge investment. I understand that. And as soon as we can figure out a way, and I think we're getting very close to figuring out a way to know what we need and how we can pay for it without asking for another dime from the taxpayers, which I'm sure we can do, then I think it'll be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And we can move forward. So, but again, that takes time. This has been tried before, and I think it was rushed. We're going to build a new sheriff's office. This is how we're going to do it, and let's make it happen. Well, you can't do that in local government, unfortunately. You got certain things you need to do and ways you need to go about it, and I think we have done that. We have taken our time. We have been very patient and tried to cross all of our T's and dot all our I's, and we still have a ways to go, but when we get there, I think it will be a no-brainer.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. No, it'll be good for us citizens as well. That you guys get a new facility. It's good to have our deputies in a good facility to work in, and it's good for the citizens coming to the sheriff's office. You have people
Absolutely.
coming every day into the sheriff's office for many different reasons.
Absolutely.
And,
As it is now, if somebody comes to the sheriff's office, are they coming for the records division?
Right.
Because then they come to the main office. Are they coming for a civil issue? Then they got to go across the parking lot.
Right.
Are they coming for an issue that is handled through support services? They have to go to Upper Broadway. We're sending people all the time. They come to the office, well, you're in the wrong spot. You need to go somewhere else. It's just, again, it's the inefficiencies that are taking place with what we have. And again, we're making it work. The men and women of the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office, like I said, they don't gripe. They come to work every day. They do a fantastic job. But this is just something that is obviously necessary. And we will get there. We'll make it happen. We're just making sure we do it right,
Right.
not rushing it.
Yeah, a little steps
Yes.
and getting it right. Well, hopefully that'll work. That'll come out. And again, like I said, I really appreciate you and the hard work that you're doing. If you have ever been in anywhere in El Dorado County, you go to any main function, John is always there, and it's I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said how wonderful it is that our county sheriff is here just taking advantage of what the county has, and anybody can walk up to him. So good job on that.
That reminds me. Last weekend I was at a wonderful function. 2 weeks ago I went up to Cantina on the Con, which is a fundraiser for the Rubicon Trail Foundation, and they have tacos and they have vendors, and it's right in the spillway of Loon Lake. Went up there, hung out. It was a great event. They did really, really well. They said it was one of the bigger cantinas that they'd had. But I met a gentleman named Kevin Casey, I believe is his name, and he is one of the organizers for Wheelers for the Wounded. And he told me about an event they were having this last weekend and asked if I could attend. I looked at my calendar, was able to move a few things around, and started my day Saturday morning in Placerville, worked my way to a few other events, and ended up at Crystal Basin Resort, the old Rob's Valley Resort up by his house, where they were, I got there just as all of these Jeeps were coming back in from the Rubicon with heroes on board. And I met, I think there was 25 or 28 wounded warriors they took up onto the Rubicon, and then had a meal with them at Crystal Basin Resort, and got to spend some time with them and visit with them, with some of them, and it was just a fantastic event. These folks are heroes.
Yes.
I say that I couldn't do the job I'm doing and standing up for our Constitution if they hadn't fought for it. And they continue to do, and our men and women in our military and our armed forces continue to do on a daily basis wherever they are dispersed throughout the globe. And
it's because of them. It's because of them that we're here and able to do what we do.
Absolutely.
That's every day they're out there defending this country. Unfortunately, some of the things they're defending aren't really great right now, but God bless them. They're doing a wonderful job, and some of these poor guys have done 3 and 4 tours, and I don't know how they do it, and some of them come back with a lot of problems, and I really hope our VA continues to help support them. PSDA, post-traumatic stress syndrome, is terrible with these people that do multiple tours, and hopefully we can help these guys out, as well as all the physically injured individuals that are out there. So good cause. That's really nice.
Just heroes.
Yes, absolutely. Just heroes. So that's a good deal. Well, I have a new, what do I want to say, group that I'm supporting, and I'm going to try to get you involved with it a little bit, John. It is Motorcycle Riders for Pediatric Brain Tumor Research. It's a very, very good cause. I'm going to have our webmaster put it up on Old Guy Tech TV, a link to it. Folks, this is a great group. You don't have to be a motorcyclist of any type, but it just helps support them. One of the areas, every medical cause has something, some group trying to back them up, and everybody's looking for those dollars to help. But I can't think of a better one than trying to help our children with brain tumors. And this is one organization that I think many of us should get involved with, and I'll make that available to you as well. So hope we can pass that as well. So what else we got going on now? How have you guys been involved in are we having any situations in particular areas where we've got grows going on or known drug activity or anything that we should maybe just talk about for a moment?
Well, it is harvest season.
It is harvest season. That's okay.
Season.
Yeah.
Overall, crime in general is pretty flat. You see a little spike here, you see a little spike there, but for the most part, crime in general is not on an incline, it's not on a decline, it's just remaining static. I saw a report the other day where crime worldwide is actually dropping. There's no explanation for it, there's no reason for it, they can't explain it, because all the other indicators say it should be going the other way. The economy worldwide, issues that are going on worldwide. They say it should be going the other way. However, worldwide crime is dropping, including in the United States, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
obviously.
absolutely.
As far as grows, we have a lot of marijuana that grows in El Dorado County. My team, they are doing a fantastic job dealing with those that are obviously abusing the laws under Proposition 215 and the Compassionate Use Act.
I guess what I worry about is anybody walking up in our forest and taking advantage of that and running into something.
If you're up there and you see anything, if you see black drip irrigation pipe or you see marijuana plants growing or
any signs of
you see anything that JDLR just don't look right, call us. That's what we're here for. We'll investigate it. We'll check it out. And be careful. Watch your back. If you see something like that, get out of the area and call us immediately. Don't go in and investigate on your own.
Yeah, these people are not nice people.
No, they are not. They're there to protect a crop, to protect their income, and that's what they're there for. So be careful. Be careful. But, here shortly, the El Dorado County Board of Supervisors has the final draft. It's made it through the Planning Commission of a permanent ordinance, 2 ordinances. One deals with dispensaries, which will be no dispensaries in El Dorado County. And the second ordinance is a cultivation ordinance, and it lays out how an individual that has a legitimate doctor's recommendation for medicinal use of marijuana can grow their marijuana and not be worried about your plants being abated. It's pretty strict by design because it gives my guys tools to deal with those that are abusing it,
right,
which is a lot of people, because there's a lot of money involved here. It basically is, if you're zoned, it lays out some certain zoning parameters, and bottom line is it's 246, 200 square feet per patient, no more than 3 people involved in any collective cultivation grow. And so that would mean no more than 600 square feet for all 3.
Right.
And it lays out the requirements of posting of such garden and security of such garden and setbacks for such garden. So we'll give my guys the tools to be able to deal with this in a reasonable fashion and also deal with those that are abusing it.
So now, has that already been given to the supervisors?
I believe they have it.
Okay.
I believe that the first reading will be coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Good. That'll be a good tool for you guys,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Hopefully we can stop all this craziness and
Absolutely.
that's going on. So that would be good too. Hey, we early on we used to talk about one of the problems that law enforcement was. I'm a kind of a car guy, and one of the things we were talking about was with the elimination of the Crown Vic. That was everybody knows, you see a Crown Vic, it's almost always a cop car, right? That was it didn't take a genius to figure that out. So what do we got replacing them? I know this took a really right turn, but I just started thinking about that. What's out there?
We have changed. We still have a few Crown Vics left in inventory, so as soon as we run through those, I believe we have 7 left in inventory. We will be switching to the Ford based on the Taurus, and also the Explorer, the SUV version.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you heard, but CHP, they are going totally SUVs.
Oh.
They will only be, all their new vehicles are the Ford Explorer based on the Explorer, the Pursuit rated Explorer.
Wow.
There's
For gas mileage.
there's a what's that?
Great for gas
Great for gas mileage. Actually, it's about the same as the Taurus model.
Yeah.
The Taurus is a fantastic vehicle. It's about as close to their what do they call it? The police version.
Interceptor?
The Interceptor,
right.
It's about as close to a purpose-built vehicle as you can get. It's very, very fast. It's very, very stable. But there's limited, in my opinion, a little limited room interior. We have some big folks that work for the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office. And when you gear them up with their bulletproof vest and all their gear, things are going to get a little bit cramped inside there. And my my concern, and we're doing everything we can to get around it, we're going to provide a bunch of training when we start bringing these online, is they're so fast and they're so maneuverable and they're so stable to a point, as in anything else, to a point. And I've driven them, and I could not make it lose traction. It just wouldn't do it. You can't. It won't do it. But that's my fear, is if you push it to the limit just far enough and it does go, that there's going to be no recovering it. So we're going to keep an eye on it. We're going to provide training. We're going to watch it. In El Dorado County, given our terrain and given what we have to deal with in the winter times, we may eventually look at just going with all SUVs as well.
Yeah.
There's a reason CHP does that. They have a lot of research money. They did a lot of research into this issue.
Right.
And that's what they came up with. It was obviously for a reason. So I'll be going down, I believe in November, to a law enforcement type trade show, and I'm going to be talking to a bunch of the different vendors and a bunch of the different users and my peers about the different vehicles that are out there. And a lot of my peers have switched to the Dodge, to the Charger, or the Charger.
The Charger, right.
Again, limited interior.
Yeah,
The
it's
Chevy
tight.
that's based on the Impala, again, limited interior. There was actually some issues with the Impala early on that supposedly have been fixed as far as the GVWR rating on them. It was fine if you had a family of 4 and a few suitcases, but the minute you put all of your police equipment in, your radio equipment in, all of your gear in there, and then you put a deputy in there,
Right. Or
you're
two.
right up against the GVWR. If you put another deputy and a prisoner in the back seat,
You're
you might
done.
be over, and then if something happens, you're on the hook. So, we've done a lot of research. There's a reason we went with the Taurus. It's like I said, in my opinion, it's about as close as you can get to a purpose-built vehicle. But we'll see how it goes in the long run.
So we get to see Tauruses and Explorers in your inventory.
Eventually,
Yeah.
that's what you'll be seeing. Yeah.
Well, good for the guys. It's easy to forget how many hours these guys sit in those cars, patrolling our areas. So you got to give them some comfort, folks. Give them a little bit of a break,
Absolutely.
okay?
The mobile office.
That's
Mobile
right.
Office.
They're in there all the time, and you do that for 10, 15 years, you get pretty worn out. So
I mentioned purpose-built. There was a company that tried to get started called Carbon Motors, and I don't know if anybody had ever heard of it.
yeah,
But it was a purpose-built patrol vehicle.
yeah,
And I think where they went wrong, and maybe I'm wrong, but the little bit of reading and research I did on it, because they've really gone nowhere. They just stalled, died, was they went after federal money. Well, do you really think that the feds are going to give a company such as this any funding when now we're funding GM
right.
and everything
We
else
bailed
that has a
out the
stake
other-
in this
yeah.
game?
Yeah,
So they kind of, in my opinion, they've cut
kind of
their
went the wrong
throat.
way. Yeah.
But it makes a lot of sense. We have purpose-built ambulances, we have purpose-built fire trucks, we have purpose-built all kinds of other vehicles that are purpose-built for an industry.
Right.
Law enforcement doesn't have one. Imagine that.
No, it's too bad to hear that didn't work out, because that does sound like a great idea. Maybe somebody else will jump onto a different revenue stream. There's a lot of venture capital out there that maybe they'll be able to get a hold of, because it does make a lot of sense.
It did. It was a neat vehicle. It was looked a little bit like a Charger, but but not. The powertrain was a twin turbo diesel.
Wow.
Because of the efficiencies they said they could get out of it and the longevity.
Sure.
The vehicles would never be decommissioned and auctioned or sold. They would be returned to the factory and recycled. It was a pretty neat vehicle.
Yeah.
The specs on it were amazing. They actually built a few of them.
That's too bad they didn't make it. Maybe somebody will pick it up. Yeah. There's always that. So, okay. Well, we're winding down to our 5-minute mark almost here. Got any message for all our watchers out there?
We've always talked about coming in here for a show, one of these shows, and we're just going to talk guns.
Yeah.
One
We
of
got to
these
do
times,
that.
We got to do that.
We do have to talk guns. So let me ask you this: does your department? What's your policy on what guns the deputies can carry?
Our deputies can carry. Well, they're issued Glock 40s.
Okay.
That's what they're issued. As what they're allowed to carry is, I allow any reputable manufactured firearm that passes muster with our armor, which are pretty much all of them, as long as it is in 9mm, 40 caliber, or 45, because then they can carry the duty ammunition. Anything other than that, they would have to buy their own ammo. It would turn into a nightmare. So
right.
For duty weapons, that's what we authorize. And then they have to pay for their if it's not a Glock, they have to pay for their own leather, their own holsters. But yeah, I don't have anything against 1911s, Smith and Wessons, Rugers, H&Ks. I think a couple deputies are carrying H&Ks. Obviously, I'm a SIG guy.
Right.
That's made no bones about that. But yeah, 9mm, 40 or 45.
I think your policy is a smart one. As being an armorer myself at one time, not every gun fits everybody exactly perfect, and some people will shoot a Glock well, and some won't. And so I'm glad to hear that you've got the flexibility of letting these deputies get a gun that might work better for them. Yeah, that's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear that you also allowed the other calibers, because one of the things that military and a lot of police forces do, of course, is it's a standard caliber across the board in case you get in a situation where you have a shooting situation and people need to get extra ammunition. So that was kind of interesting. I've seen a lot of departments just say it's either 9mm or nothing, or it's either 40 or nothing. And so it's interesting that you allow the other calibers.
Yeah, we do that. I'll be honest with you, almost everybody carries a 40. Not too many guys or gals are carrying any other calibers. Few 45s, not too many 9mm. Actually, there's a few agencies across the nation or across the state right now that are going back to 9s and solely 9s, Amador County being one of them. I don't understand.
I wonder what the reasoning behind that is. No idea.
That's what they want. They did their research, and that's what they're going to go to.
Huh. I'm like you. I'd rather have a 40 if I was going to do it.
I'd rather have a 45.
Well,
they don't make a 46. So.
Yeah, they don't want a 46, so you need a 45. I agree. I'm a 1911 guy from way back. Cocked and locked was the way we did it. So.
But I think it comes back to what you said, Rob. I mean, if it's what you're comfortable with and what you shoot the best, if that's what you want to do, again, I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. If you're in a situation where there's 10 cops, 10 deputies side by side engaged in a running gun battle, and 9 out of the 10 carry 40s, and one person carries a 45, yeah, I guess that could become an issue with the one person that's carrying the 45 if he runs out of ammunition.
Right.
My answer to that is carry enough magazines and have backups in your car.
Yeah.
I carry extra ammunition. I carry extra magazines.
Yeah, you have to, and hopefully we'll never get in a position where you run out of ammunition if you're carrying 50, 60, 70 rounds with you.
Yeah. This is not a battlefield. This is law enforcement.
Yeah.
We're reactive. We're not proactive. So.
I'll tell you what, in Las Vegas, if you go in Las Vegas and you look at their motor officers, it's incredible. They're carrying Glock 40 calibers, and they triple stack them. They got them. These motor officers have so many magazines on them it doubles their weight. It's unbelievable. So they're ready for something in Las Vegas. I don't know what it is.
All right.
But Las Vegas says, "Hey, you guys are going to carry, 200 rounds of ammunition." It was very impressive.
That's all right.
No, that's a good one. Well, John, we covered a lot of stuff. Once again, this is our Twofer Wednesday, we call it. So we have a live show this afternoon at 4 o'clock with Opinion versus Opinion. And John is kind enough to come every month, and we get to talk about stuff. Do me a favor, go to our website, ogt.tv, www.ogt.tv. Go to our website. Leave us some messages. Send us some emails. You got questions for John? We can get it to him so you can get your answers. Always call, too. We always have Bob. Bob's one of our all-time callers, so thank you, Bob, for taking part of that as well. And you know what? We hope to see you all the time. Every month, every week, we're here with multiple shows. we need you to hit that donate button. We need some help, folks. We're starting to run on vapors here, and we really do need some help. So a little bit of the donation would help the show as well. I appreciate that. PBS has been begging for money for many years. I'm not above it either. So hit that donate button. We'd really like to do that. And we're going to wrap it up. And you know what? We have a caller at the last minute here. Let's see if we can zip this caller in real quick. Hi, this is Rob and John DiAgostini. How? PBS has been begging for money for many years. Hello, you got to turn your computer speakers off.
Hello.
Hello, who do we got?
This is Tom. Is it too late to ask the sheriff a question?
Never too late, Tom. Go ahead. Let's ask the sheriff a question.
Hello.
Go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead, Tom.
Hi, Sheriff. My name is Tom. I'm a resident of Rescue in the Travoy neighborhood, and we had a recreational shooting incident here in August. I'm wondering if you are familiar with that situation and what you can tell us about it.
Where's it at, Tom?
Yeah, it was in the Travoy neighborhood in Rescue.
I'm not familiar with it off the top of my head. How long ago was that?
Let me just briefly tell you what happened. A neighbor was shooting in his backyard. Apparently someone in your department told him there was a county ordinance that allowed him to do that. And my question is, has your department been updated on the law, because it was patently illegal for this person to be shooting? And has your department been updated on this law?
Well, I'm not sure which incident you're talking about, Tom, and my deputy would probably not say something like that. If they were shooting in a lawful manner within 150, outside of 150, I believe it's yards of another dwelling, unless they had permission from that other person.
That was not the case.
Okay.
And they very definitely gave this person bad information. And I would suggest to you, sir, that you follow up on this, because it was a serious situation. This person was shooting in a neighborhood well within 150 yards of the next house. He was shooting across property lines. He was shooting within 1,000 yards of a school. It could have been a disaster.
Okay. Yeah, why don't we, I'm trying to think of the best way to make sure that I get my information right so that we can
Certainly.
Look into it.
I'd be glad to talk to you offline.
Why don't you, you can call the office anytime on the main line at 621 6515 6515 and ask to talk to me. If I'm not in, leave me a message on my voicemail, and we'll have either I or somebody will get back in touch with you, and we'll definitely look into that. It just doesn't sound like something that my deputy would tell somebody, that if it was not absolutely in a legal and safe manner. But we'll definitely look into it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, Tom, thank you very much for calling the show and watching. Hopefully you'll continue.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, you know what? That was great. We got a call towards the end of the show. Please don't be shy. Give us a call. John's here to answer your questions, and if he doesn't have the answer at the moment, he'll find the answer for you, so there's no problem. Once again, John, I want to thank you. We're going to wrap this up. This has been great. I don't know if everybody loves this new set look or not. Let us know. We think it's kind of fun. We look a little more CNN-ish, huh? Blue, red, I don't know. Anyway, it's a good election night. We're having fun. But anyway, thank you very much for watching Old Guy Tech TV. Thank you, Sheriff DiAgostini. Thank you, Jonathan Charney, for running all this stuff. And thank you for watching. Hit the donate button. We'll see you next time.